All right, sports fans, here you go. The Jasper recap of Table Rock Lake, the first Central Open. I finished 19th in the event. As you know, I had to rush back from Okeechobee to get a couple of days of practice in on Table Rock. Even though I live here, things are changing very rapidly because of the warm winter that we had. Typically at this time of the year on Table Rock, you catch them cranking, and it's all about the bait and about the transition banks. What rock has on the banks, where the creek channels swing in, and that's what I targeted. The practice was a little bit slow, and it's all about getting a big bite. The weights were really low this year, but most of my work was done with just a couple of different baits. And if the wind would blow really good and the fish would get active, I could crank them. And instead of a wiggle wort, which is typically what works here really well, I chose to use a Spro rock crawler in a red crawfish pattern with the green, and I had a little custom orange painted on the belly. Really caught a lot of fish for me, and it also caught me a couple of really good ones during the event as well. And I would just crank that out there in that 10, 12, 14 foot range, and if I could hit something with it like a rock or an isolated piece of structure, a stump, usually they would react to it and I could catch one really quickly. And I would throw that on 10-pound line with a 6/8 retrieve loose reel, and then a loose cranking rod as well. Glass, by the way, so that you could land the fish and it wasn't oversensitive in this colder water. The other bait that really came to play was a jig. And any time that you can fish a jig on Table Rock Lake this time of the year, it's usually going to produce your bigger bites. And it did produce all of my bites on day 2 for me. And this is a Lunker Lure Limit Series jig. As you can see, I've got the paint worn off of the top of this one. It's a jig that I designed for them. It's a 1/2 ounce ball head, 5/0 hook. It's really a great little bait. The Cumberland Craw colored. Just really good for clear lakes. And then whenever the wind would be really calm in the mornings, I would throw this wobble head designed by a Lunker Lure as well. But on it, it's just a little finessier than the jig. And I could get them to bite it by making a long cast on pea gravel transition banks where the bluff ends were. And I would put a Missile Baits Crawfather on it and just dye the tips chartreuse and go real slow, and they just bite it and load up on it. And I caught a lot of fish doing that whenever in the early mornings whenever the wind was calm. So there you have it, 19th place finish in the first Central Open. I would have really loved to make the top 12. Just fell just a little bit short, less than a pound, but happy with the finish considering how much driving, and the week before that I had fished on Okeechobee. So I got a little bit of downtime here, going to do some R&R and prepare for the next ones.